Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Cherry back again with another video. I know you see this big thing. It's my phone. It's my phone. And today I want to be talking about a TV show that I have recently been done watching, but I needed some time before I could speak on it because this show has so much in it that I actually really love it. I actually love hate relationship, but I love it. In today's topic, we'll be talking about Gossip Girl. Not any of the serious situations they're in yet, but since it is November and it is the month for Thanksgiving, I'm going to be talking about all the Thanksgiving episodes. We'll be going through seasons 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 Thanksgiving episodes. Okay, so first, we're going to be talking about season 1, episode 9. I have it here up on my TV right now, and it is titled Waldorf Must Pie. So now I'm going to give my memory from this episode. I do remember that Serena and Dan are dating, and Dan's mom does come into town because him and his sister Jenny did a little what siblings do in TV shows where they try to get their parents together and whatnot. But Rufus is over here still wants Serena's mom for some odd reason. But hey, in this season, I was actually rooting for them. When I was first watching this, I was rooting for them. I'm giving my review on this as I am watching this, so please stay with me. But in the first minutes, this is like not a throwback, but a flashback to how Thanksgiving was the year prior before Serena left New York to go to boarding school and came back. And it basically shows Serena's walking out the bar being drunk, and Blair's right behind her telling her to yo, calm down. My mom's worried because your mom is worried. I told Lily to use over here getting pie. And then we see Dan, lonely boy, coming out with pies on the phone. And Serena basically almost gets hit by a car, and then the pies are gone. The pies are wasted. Now the Humphreys can't even have pie. Okay, so now we're out the flashback. So Serena's basically on the phone with Dan, basically being like, yeah, I'm going over at Blair since her dad is finally back from France. And he's like, oh, that's good. We also have a full house here too, because his mom is back into town. And it is Serena's like, okay, well, come in between every course. Girl, it's Thanksgiving. I get it, girl. Your family is dysfunctional. His is. Hit. Look. Ain't no one calling in between every course. Okay? It's family. You're supposed to be talking to family. At least in that day and age. In this day and age, we on our phones. Kinda. Anyways. So yeah, Blair's dad is back in town. She's excited. Serena's over there too. And Dan is at home cooking with his family. So now since Serena is at Blair's, they are talking a little bit, and Blair is very chipper. Okay, Blair is like, okay, I gotta find this recipe that me and my dad always used to make when I was little. And cool, right? And obviously, Serena's like, well, you either, well, not Serena. Blair's like, well, I either up my Lexi Pro or something else. Why is she upping her doses in medicine? Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't care actually. But Serena also says, yeah, you also can be chipper because things are going good with a boy. So how is you and Nate? And Blair is like, please, me and Nate are not even. Girl, no. And then Serena's like, okay, how about you and Chuck? And Blair's like, why would I care for Chuck? It's Chuck. And then Serena's like, I've seen you with him, girl. Clock it. Okay. And this is also the episode where Blair basically tells Serena, yeah, I did sleep for Chuck. But she's like, yeah, I saw him once or twice. And then Serena is like, I thought you wanted it to be special though. I thought that was your whole stick, that you wanted your friends to be special. And Blair shoots it back again, being like, nothing hurts more than sleeping with your best friend, right, S? And she also clocked her too. So anyways, now Serena is kicked out of Blair's home because she was judging her for sleeping with Chuck. Anyways, so Serena, her mom, and her brother are all walking down the street, looking at stuff to get for Thanksgiving to try to cook, even though they're right now in this season that they're living in a hotel. And in hotels, they don't have an oven slash stove. So what is she gonna cook the food on? Maybe in the microwave. I don't know. I don't care. But this is how Serena and Dan's conversation goes. Hey Dan, like, can I make a pasta salad? I actually opened up the cranberries. So my work here is done. Oh, that's good. Yeah, so how is it going over at Blair's? I don't know. She gave me the boot. What did you guys fight about now? Don't worry about it, but my mom is gonna cook us some duck and a pumpkin. And obviously, Dan goes, "You're not gonna eat a duck and raw pumpkin on Thanksgiving." Like, yes, but then he also tells her, like, "Yeah, you can come over here since my family has cooked more than what they needed to, since there's only like four of them in the house right now. So, guess what? They're going to be spending Thanksgiving together." Serena's mom, Lily, did try not to go, but they did convince her to go to Dan's house. Serena goes over there, and that's when they realize, like, oh, well, they didn't realize, but they kind of like noticed that, like, Rufus and Lily are both acting kind of weird, and then Dan's mom is also acting weird because Dan's mom doesn't like Lily because it's like, girl, you were what is it? It's a thing where like someone follows a celebrity around the whole time, not a stalker, groupie. Basically, Lily was like some type of groupie towards Rufus, and to me, I feel like that's a good thing to not like someone for, especially since like Rufus does have a song made for Lily, like at the dinner table. He's literally like they're literally like talking. Like Jenny and Dan are being like, "Oh yeah, and he made this song like for her mom," and the mom is like, "Girl, that song not for me." Then like Dan's like, "Huh?" And like obviously Rufus ain't really saying nothing. Rufus really don't say much in Gossip Girl a lot. Like he will say like some good things like in season 1 and 2, but for like after that, he just doesn't really say much anymore. It's nonsense. But anyways, and like when they all realize that the song's about Lily, everybody freak is freaking out. Which I'll freak out too. Cause yo, we have to get this thing down together. But anyways, that whole entire scene happens, right? And Serena and her family decided to leave. And Serena's full name is Serena Vanderwoodson. So the Vanderwoodsons leave and eat ketchup.
Reset.
And eat fries on Thanksgiving, which they should have just did it before. As soon as they were kicked out of Blair Waters' house, they should have just went to go eat some fries and just chit chat. But also, what happened at Blair's house? In this episode, I'm pretty sure Blair's dad doesn't really even show up. He just does. He either he does or he doesn't. But if he does, he leaves early and can't stay. But I'm pretty sure in this episode he does not show up, which causes Blair to, how do I say this politely? It causes Blair to eat the whole pie. And I stand correct. Blair's father did not come. He stayed in Paris. Which, how was it? I don't understand what's so hard about just picking up the phone and being like, "Hey Blair, sweetie, I'm not coming for Thanksgiving. I want to just stay here with my husband." Like, this girl was waiting on you, and then her mom has to tell her, like, "Oh yeah, your dad's not coming. He's staying in Paris." I'll eat the whole pie too. That's basically like the whole, how I sum up the whole entire, like, first Thanksgiving episode in the Gossip Girl universe because this just sets the tone for every other Gossip Girl Thanksgiving. On to season 2. Okay, so this is season 2, episode 11 for the Thanksgiving of this season. And we're already starting off with, it's not even been a minute yet, and Blair is complaining about her mom's new boyfriend, how his boxes are already there and his relatives are there, and one of the relatives gave her a kiss on the cheek and it was an orange lipstick so it looked like she tanned, and someone was talking to her about corn, and someone and I think his like sister asked to go shopping at at 20 at century 2021. I think they were talking, I don't know what they were talking about. I don't speak rich people lingo. I don't. But yeah, so you see the set the tone that's going on here, right? Also in this episode, Jenny is thinking about being emancipated from her family, and I'll do a deep dive on that whole thing, like when I get to just doing a character analysis on Jenny Humphrey, because I really do love this character, and I don't like what they did with my girl Taylor Morrison. Okay, that is one of my favorite white people who acts, and she does not even act anymore, which sucks. But you know what? This girl has her own music career. Which listen to her music. I haven't, but you should though. You should. Okay, so I have not mentioned yet, but in this episode we are focusing on Nate and his family, and Nate's last name is Archibald. I don't know why their last name is Archibald, but go right ahead. But basically, throughout this season, I think in at the end of season 1 and at the beginning of season 2, we do find out that Dan's dad is like on the run from the IRS or something because he didn't pay taxes or he was doing something shady. I don't know. It's rich people things. I don't got time for that. But basically, he's in hiding, and Nate has not seen his dad in a long time. And this is the episode where he finally sees him again because his mom takes him to an apartment, and she's like, yeah, we're just gonna have like a fun family dinner, even though your dad is like hiding from the IRS. You haven't seen him in such a long time. And this is how you're gonna see him. Us, the rich people in this show are insane. Also, his dad like beard mustache is just so it's ugly. It's ugly. So anyways, after Nate dad talks to him being like, hey, why don't you come to wherever the fuck? Because I don't remember what part of the world he asked him to come to. And like live with him, just finish school over to where they were at. Oh, because the people are nice and it's warm and we're by the beach. Anyways, we're with Lily and Rufus because Rufus and Lily found out that Jenny has been sleeping over at the Vanderwoodsen's house. And Lily, she's like, I didn't even know. She even called Serena, and Serena didn't even know. So that means Eric has been sneaking Jenny in at night, and Eric is Serena's little brother. And that makes sense. And Lily also clocks Rufus being like, look, the last time you and Jenny were together, things did not turn out a stunning way, and even now, your opinion still has not changed. So let's breathe, let's regroup, and let's actually think of a good plan. Anyways, B and S, Blair and Serena are on the phone. And this is how the whole thing basically goes. Yeah, my mom's new boyfriend took my mom to this restaurant for God knows what. So I have the house myself. Thank God. Oh, really? That's great. My new boyfriend is like cooking this for right now. But when I told him where he was today, he said he was with a friend. And now I'm just thinking, was this friend like a girl he kissed, or was it just an actual friend? Well, as a man is only supposed to like you and only you, not all this open relationship stuff. So are you big that we're supposed to be doing that together tomorrow? I need a tradition to ground my own. Okay, well, I'll talk to him. Okay, good luck, but you can come over anytime you want. Bye. That's how basically the whole conversation goes. You know how to say this. Please do not get into a relationship where like your partner just wants to flirt with everyone. That's a friend with benefits situation. That's just let me just call you up situation. Like, don't do that unless you also want to have an open relationship. Okay, now again, we're like 11 minutes in, and Lily basically told Eric, "Hey, I know that Jenny has been living here for the past week. Bring her up so we can talk." Okay, so Lily does talk to Jenny, and Jenny's like, "Okay, fine, like, I'll really think about it," but then she leaves, which means she leaves her purse, and Lily finds the emancipation papers. Yeah, and then it cuts to Dan and Rufus being at the store, and Dan is like, "Hey, are you okay that Jenny's not with us this Thanksgiving? Because you know she's always with them on Thanksgiving." And he's like, "Well, do you mean like really depressed?" And I guess so. I'm okay. And you do see this really taking a toll on Rufus, but I don't think he's gonna back down really. Dan does run into Serena's new boyfriend, and Dan tells him about her past, which I don't know why you're telling people about their past. Like, you're not supposed to be doing that. Um, if I was Serena and I found that out, I would hire people to beat Dan's ass. Like, I would hire people to beat Dan's ass because why are you telling people about my past, Buki? I'm supposed to do that. Not true. Okay, you're not my lawyer. Thank you. Okay, now let me catch you all up to speed. So basically, Chuck took Eric up to his dad's office to open up the safe and to show him what's up in there. Also, Eric is like, "Whoa, there are like golden bars and stuff, and there's a phone in here." And he's like, "Yeah, put the phone back down." And then Vanessa basically calls Chuck and it's like, "Hey, it's really hard for me to call you right now, but Nate's in trouble. He's in trouble, and the FBI contacted me, and Nate needs our help." And obviously, Chuck, with like his voice is so stupid. Chuck is like, "Where is he? Why is your voice like that?" Anyways, and then Vanessa's like, I'm blah blah at this place, and he's like, "I'll be there." And then he leaves Eric in the office where the safe's open. I don't know why you will leave the safe open with someone who just got into your family, and yeah, but basically Eric finds these folders of him, his mom's, and Serena's, and he only opens up his because obviously he does not invade with privacy, surprisingly, and he can't really like can get himself to open like his mom and his sisters because it's like bigger than his. But in his photo, he finds very photos of him just walking about or him at I forgot. I think it's called the Oxford Center up in the Gossip Girl world, where it's like a mental hospital for the rich people. Okay, but then Lily calls Rufus and be like, "Hey, you need to get." Basically, she was like this: "Hey, you need to get here now. Like, I saw some papers that you had, and it's bad. Like, I know it's Thanksgiving, but come to my house now." Obviously, Rufus comes in. Obviously, Charles, her Lily's new husband, like, what is he doing here? And Lily's like, "Hey, I called him here for a reason. Just hold on." And she shows Rufus the papers, and now everyone is in one place because now Serena's new boyfriend and Dan are now kind of bickering because Serena's boyfriend's like, "Hey, why did you lie to me about Serena, about her past and stuff, about this girl named Georgina?" And then it's like, "I didn't lie. She just doesn't want to tell you." Which again, I don't know why is Dan thinking he can just tell people about other people's past. Like, it makes zero sense. But anyways, that's what we're up to the point now. Yes, I have been fast forwarding this. I need to get everything out right now. Also, Blair is just throwing the fit. That's all I gotta say. And so now we're back at like I feel like that should have been the main focus point of this episode, which is the Archibalds. Basically, Vanessa and Chuck get one of the FBI agents to come and tell Nate about everything that happened, about how your dad is doing investment, but also he could be doing like kidnapping and other bad things. And he's like, okay, but like my grandparents does not like my dad, so why are they helping him doing all of this since he's like poor now? And Vanessa's like, maybe that's why they're doing it. They're doing it so that he can leave without you and your mom giving him money. He's like sitting there, but then also he asks the FBI agent. He's like, hey, why did you just come up to me and tell me? Which, dude, really, really. But the FBI agent does tell him like, we didn't know you or your mom knew what was going on, and you were just gonna play into the fact. So this is like the only way we could basically tell you. And then also like Vanessa and Chuck were like, plus we didn't really think you were just going to just leave New York. And then Chuck's like, yeah, especially without saying goodbye to your friends. And Nate is just he just scoffs at that because I think at this point of like the season, like they all got to a fight of some sort, and yeah, yeah, I don't remember much because I took a long break from this whole entire universe in between me watching it and after I was done watching it. I was done. That's what basically happened in this Thanksgiving episode because I'm pretty sure Serena does tell her new boyfriend Aaron that about her life, and they end up eating fries again. Oh, and Jenny doesn't emancipate herself. This is season 3, episode 11, which I think it might be a returning thing that all of the rest of the seasons are going to be like. But in this one, like in the first minute, Eric is like, "Hey, us Vanderbilt Wilsons, we don't really have a Thanksgiving tradition besides us ending up at a diner eating fries and one of us being put in a mental institution," which he's the correct. That's literally all they do. Is really just be like, "Okay, I'm gonna have a good Thanksgiving," and ends up at fries. But in my video, I'm just pointing out how like they try their best to, but somehow they keep on being more drama. Just drama. But anyways, yeah, in this first minute, Rufus does try to assign everyone something to like cook, but Lily is like, hey, Serena's not gonna be here and I just wanna be a hassle, so let me just go and pick us like a turkey dinner. And Rufus was just like, okay, but like Jenny was like, oh well, Rufus was actually thinking that we should, but like Rufus is like, no, it's fine. You kind of tell like in this episode, Jenny was actually like really ready to like go back to what she used to do, but you know, when you marry someone new, something's change, and that's sad. Like, imagine not be able to do your traditions anymore. I bet Blair will understand that. Anyways, also in this season, Serena decides to just have an affair over trip, which is Nate's cousin, and Nate's cousin was about to divorce his wife, but that never happens. That never happens in this series. Like he never divorces her for some odd reason. That's a little weird, but I will get down and dirty with Serena's dating history and herself in another video because that needs a video. Okay, so now there's more drama added onto the plate of Thanksgiving up in the world of Gossip Girl. So basically, Blair's mom is coming in from Paris to take her back to Paris for a huge thing. I don't know what the huge thing. I actually do not remember what the huge thing is, and really, I'm not really focusing on Blair much on this episode because I actually don't focus much on Blair on any of the Thanksgiving episodes because I feel like a lot of her story is like this wall. It's just behind us, not the real situation going on right now. But also in this episode, Dan is calling Nate, basically saying like, "Hey, like I did have a threesome with my girlfriend and my best friend," which don't do that. If it's gonna be you and your partner, please have a threesome like with a stranger or something. Like, don't do it with your partner and your best friend. That's never a good idea. But his girlfriend Olivia is like, hey, like I'm gonna leave because like I think you like Vanessa, which everyone who watched Gossip Girl knows that he does. We all know it's in the fine print. So yeah, and basically Nate's just basically telling him on the phone is like, told you so, shouldn't have done it, like that's a bad thing to do, and now look where you're at. So that's basically like all the drama that's going on in this episode. Yeah, so that's basically all the drama that's going on in this episode. And I wonder how it's gonna end up again. Anyways, now guess who's in the park talking? Serena and Nate. And Nate's basically saying like, okay, Serena, tell me the truth. What happened between you and my cousin? Because due to Vandervoort grapevine, it got around that Trip was divorcing his wife. And so basically Nate's looking at her and he's like, what really happened? Tell me. And she's like, okay, look, we kissed once. She kissed a married man once. Really? And he's looking at her like, girl, be so serious. Are you serious? And she's like, but it was a mistake, a mistake that I would never do again. Never do again. Don't piss me off. Also Vanessa does stay with Dan over break because she got into a fight with her mom and she did not sign the papers in time to stay in the dorms on break, which sucks. And she does unload a lot of things that she's been thinking about. And she did ask Dan about like Olivia and how everything was. And then it's like, oh, I haven't talked to her. And he's like, hey, like everything happens for a reason, right? And it's like, yeah. But also Lily does invite Trip and his wife to Thanksgiving. So how you seeing how everything is always something's always happening. Also, Trip and Serena do kiss in the elevator again. Okay, so it's Thanksgiving now, and like everyone's there. Like Vanessa and her mom is there. Cece's there, which is Serena's grandmother. Lily's there. Rufus there. Everyone's there, and this is gonna be such a great Thanksgiving. Oh, and Trip and his wife is there also. Oh my god! And now Serena is gonna have to look at Trip's face and see him play happy family in front of everyone else. Okay, so basically now I'm gonna be trying not to be as loud because it is late at night. Everyone's now sitting at the dinner table, and a lot of people are just getting up from the dinner table and walking away. So basically, Lily sees Rufus and Cece just sitting there talking, and she gets up and goes and drink more hard liquor. And then Cece and Rufus are talking with Vanessa's mom, and Vanessa's is like, oh, Cece, like, tell me about like their weddings. And it's like, I was boycotting or whatever. And she was like, oh, well, I wasn't invited. And, Vanessa's mom was like, Dan, what's wrong with you? And it was like, well, like, Lily told me that you were still like, was like, not in remission. You were still like sick. So I thought it was best for you not to come. Great thing to do, right? Cece reveals that I haven't been in remission since October, and the wedding was like in April or May, and now Rufus is like, that's weird because she didn't come back until some like April or May, something like that. And Cece's like, oh well, maybe I just got it mixed up. No, Cece, you didn't. You were in remission in October, and Lily came back in like the spring months, which means Lily has been lying. But then we cut to Vanessa telling Dan like, "Oh, why does my mom always stick her nose in everyone's business? Like, what's wrong with her?" And Dan is like, "Oh, Cece literally has like drama and other stuff like popping to her veins and stuff." He was like, and she's like, "What's wrong with you? You have been like defending her ever since, and you give me this face again because now Dan's realizing that he does like Vanessa, even though everyone already knew it from the beginning. As soon as we seen him and Vanessa together on screen, and she and I think she actually like, oh, like can someone develop a new face at the age of 8, at the age of like 19, And then Jenny's like, oh, well, I don't know who you got Eric because he's Two-Faced. I'll say Eric is like, what? And then Jenny's like, oh, well, Blair told me that you the one that did the whole stunt at Cotillion, having me stand up there without a date. And then Eric doesn't say anything. Then Jenny is like, oh, we don't have nothing to say now. And Eric is like, your potato salad is bland. So basically, everyone is just sitting at the table, just being mad as ever. Oh, and also, a Marine, Trip's wife has gone up to Nate and asked him, "Oh, is Trip and Serena having an affair?" And Nate shows her the footage of the elevator of them making out, since there's footage in the elevator, since there are cameras in the elevator. So yeah, and she basically just says it now, like, hey, like I know about your affair, so if you if you divorce me, I'm gonna send this out everywhere, which means it's gonna make Serena look like the 18-year-old that's just the other woman, which a lot of people during this episode, like Blair and Chuck and Nate, has been saying like, hey, like this is bad. You shouldn't really like be doing this, but Serena's hard headed. I don't know what happened. She's hard headed. So, anyways, yeah, Marine shows the footage to them, and Lily so happens to be right behind Serena, seeing that, and now she's mad at Serena. So, anyways, I want to cut forward. Um, Vanessa and her mom do make up because Vanessa's mom does realize that, oh yeah, I need to tone back down on my activism, which actually I'm not gonna go deep into it because I'm gonna do another whole video on a lot of my icks during the show. Is I'm gonna create a list so I can stay on track. But yeah, if that happens, then I think Serena and her mom kind of fight a little bit on her being an affair partner, and Serena still doesn't like. Serena still is like, I don't give a shit, like da da da. Like she's just being crazy. Marie's being crazy, and yeah, and I don't think Jenny and Eric really make up in this episode, or they do. And also, Blair's mom is not pregnant. That's what Blair thinks because she found like a pregnancy test in a bag, but in actuality, it is Dorota's. So yeah. Okay, so I did lie. Not every episode that's of Thanksgiving in the Customer universe ends up with them in fries, but somehow Blair does also ends up eating a pie by herself, and quite frankly, I would do the same. Except it will be cake. But this ending is a little more nerve-wracking because Maureen did get some information about Lily. So, oops, there's a lie there. I kind of forgot about this episode because there's so much thing that was going on in season 3 that you kind of do miss some important details. But yeah, so Maureen has documents on Lily, I'm pretty sure, and now that thing's a whole. Now they got to get that whole thing back. But that's how basically this this Gossip Girl like Thanksgiving ends up with Maureen getting some details about Lily. Okay, so hi. So I had to reshoot a lot of my parts because I did not realize that one of my mics were cutting out so bad that you did not know what I was talking about. So basically, I combed through season 4 and 5, and they did not have any like Thanksgiving episodes. What I can see from the descriptions. So from for season 4 and 5, there are no Thanksgiving episodes. So now I am on season 6, episode 8, where there is a Thanksgiving episode, and I'm just going to recap everything up to the point where I am at. Okay, so basically, we open up and it's basically like the day before. I think it's the day of Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving, and a lot of people are trying to travel. Blair is trying to go to Paris to see her mom and to like stay out of meddling of people's business and stuff. And she also says that I'm gonna try my best to not talk to Chuck because if I push him more, he's just gonna go into like a deeper depression basically. And so yeah, but then we also find out that Bart and Lily are going on a trip too to I forgot where, but it's like white sand beaches and whatever. And so then Serena figured out that they are going to be alone for Thanksgiving. So obviously then Serena are going to be cooking for Thanksgiving, but Serena gets the right idea to have it as a friends that give giving. So invite Nate, Blair, Chuck, and just have a Thanksgiving that way. Obviously, then it's like, I don't really know. It is our first Thanksgiving together back as a couple, and like I don't think that's a good idea. But Serena does eventually get him to like be okay with it, and that happens. So basically, I'm gonna kind of cut and divide like into like different parts. And goes to meet Georgina like in I forgot what part of New York they're at, but to go meet um they're both meeting each other for the final chapter, and that's the Serena chapter. And, and he tells Georgina that he already sent like the draft to like someone to like one of the news articles or whatever. And Georgina is very mad about that, but don't worry. But then Serena calls him, and basically this is how it goes. Hey, hey, I think I bought too much groceries. Well, who doesn't like a little leftovers? Cool. Boom. She bumps into her ex, Stephen, the pharmacist, medical dude, and his daughter, Sage. And she was supposed to be marrying this dude, well, supposed to be engaged, but like at Cotillion, Sage leaked, type of film that's only supposed to be seen in the privacy of their bedroom. Yeah, and yeah, and then somehow Sage gets on Serena's soft side and to get her and her dad invited to their Thanksgiving dinner because Blair did call and tell her about the plan that she had. And we're gonna go back over to Serena when she was at Blair's house. So she walks into Blair's house and she does tell Blair like, hey, like my plans for Thanksgiving are like changed or different. And she's like, oh, okay, well, Blair is just like, lonely boy probably dumped you, Humphrey dumped you. And I have another ticket to go to Paris with me so that Dorota doesn't have to go. But then Serena's like, no, no, we're fine. We're fine. We're just having like a friend's giving since, my mom and Bart won't be here. And Blair's like, I don't know. And Dorota does remind Blair that hey, like she doesn't want to mess up with business and she doesn't want to go to Paris with her mom so that she could just be with her mom for Thanksgiving, right? Totally fine. But um Blair just said like, you know what, since my friend really does want me to stay for her friend's Thanksgiving, I will stay. And then once Serena leaves, she turns to Dorota and be like, I don't like that she's with Dan and there are so many different holidays that happens in between now and just Serena being a June bride. So obviously she types up Sage, calls her and tells the plan, which is what happened at the grocery store when Serena is trying to call Dan, telling him like, "Oh, I think I got too much food." Now we're gonna cut to them all being at home when Bart and Lily tells them like, "Oh, we cannot go to our destination because of a tropical storm." So since there's a tropical storm, they cannot go. By they, I mean Bart and Lily cannot go to their destination, so they have to stay there at their home, which is their home. And so obviously then it's like, okay, we will just have to set up like two more names. Serena comes in, sees that her mom and Bart is still there, and it's like, oh, like what's going on? They tell her the situation, and she's like, well, instead of two, gotta do four, because again, she invited her ex Steven and his house Sage to their Thanksgiving meal. Now, I do want to preface to say this. I feel like Serena was wrong in that situation to invite them because, like, that is an ex and his daughter, and the daughter did leak your sex tape with Dan. And Like, I just feel like it's kind of rude. Chuck also comes and Lily sees him, and their little chat is basically summed up into like Lily being like, I hope you can put everything that happened in the past and just stop doing like this tantrum. And Chuck is like, look, I know something about my father that you don't. You're blinded by him. I'm leaving. Um, Blair does see him leave after she watches the interaction in between Steven and Dan, where Steven was basically like, "Oh, Serena's gonna go back to me. Once she's done with you, like she's just gonna go back to me." And when Blair does see Chuck about to leave, she does get him, catch him, and be like, "Hey, like you cannot leave, or because your father's here. Like I did not know who's gonna be here and stuff, right?" And they're scheming, and I'm gonna go over that with like my other video where I'm going to talk about other schemes, well, the schemes that I liked and the schemes that I hated. But yeah, she does get him to stay, and now we're at the point where Lily and Bart are sitting at the table, and Lily's like, "Oh my gosh, I heard about one of your employees like drowning. Like that's insane." And Bart is like, "Oh yeah, that's so terrible." But right now, the viewers know that Bart knows about the drowning and does not give a shit about the drowning at all. Oh, also, Dan did try to invite his father to the Thanksgiving lunch, little Thanksgiving dinner, but Rufus decided not to go because he's like, look, you're really involved in the thing with Serena. The Vincewood women are not going to want to be with the Humphreys. That would never happen. They all would go for men like with like Bart Bass, and he basically compared Bart to like a reptile, and I have one right here. And quite frankly, I know he's not talking about this reptile, whatever. But Dan did try to convince him, saying, "Well, since that snake is going to be on like a beach with Lily, you can be here eating dinner with your son and everybody else." But Rufus decided not to go and go to his little potluck thing that he found. And so that's going all back to where I'm at now. Okay, so now we're going to the part where like Blair is meddling, and she goes over to Serena, who's fixing her plate, which the food looks dry. My ad. Every single Thanksgiving episode, the food looks dry besides the fries. Like, come on. Yeah, Blair goes over there. She's like, oh, like, Stephen left. Like, what's going on? And she's like, yeah, like, Stephen thought I was going to get back together with him. And I told him that, like, I was going to be with Dan and I was going to be with Dan. And Blair's like, okay, look, I love you and I love our friendship. And we just got back to being friends. But Dan is not the one for you. He literally stomped, stumbled, run over, threw everyone under the bus. Like all his friends, threw under the bus. And I'm not able to sit here and wait for him to do that to you too. So I don't think Dan is someone for you, right? And Serena's like, look, he's the one for me. I love you. And I want to keep our friendship, so why don't you just accept him? And this could be like the best Thanksgiving ever. I swear, Serena has a problem with not like listening to people. And I get it, like you can't always listen to your friends. Oh, Lord Jesus, why would you not listen to your friend that has been by your side and has been talking about you and has been, you know what? I understand why she's not listening to Blair, but you know what? Like, let's not listen to our best friend of so many years. Let's not. And with that note, we actually finally got to the part where Georgina, she's sort of like a figure in background. She's like the big bad villain every single time, and I love it. But in this episode of the Thanksgiving, she is like kind of Dan's like little editor. And remember when Blair was like, oh, like he's going to do like a little assignment on you. Yeah, so that does happen. And Georgina's like, if you guys please me look at your phones and see how my protege is doing with the new chapter on Serena. And yeah, it goes south really fast, at least for Dan and everybody else. Well, at least for Dan, because he does really love Serena, even, even though I don't think he does. I'm gonna be so honest with you. I don't think Dan really ever loves Serena. Maybe first season, but like all the rest of the season. Okay, so this episode does not end with fries, but it does end but it does end up with me being heartbroken. So since Serena did read what Dan wrote about her in his like blog thing, he was like, she said, "I'm kicking you out. I thought you were different," and then he was like, "Well, I was different, but now I'm the same as you," which I feel like is really such a good focal point in their relationship throughout the whole entire series. But I'm gonna do that in a later video. But I feel like this is like such a bad thing. Like I feel bad for Serena in a way in this instance because she does forgive him and everything, but at the same time, she's done bad things to him too. So it's like a like I don't it's like I don't know, but everyone still got their like kind of like happy ever after. But Lily does leave, and she calls Chuck and she's like, "Hey, I'm leaving. Like I can't do this. Like I'm leaving." And she's going on a little like spa retreat or whatever. And Chuck, Blair, and it is now have to like fight freaking Bart Bass and whatnot. And the episode really just ends with Dan just typing at his typewriter. Which, if you know a certain other TV show lore, in that TV show's book, a certain main character throws his typewriter at the wall. So yeah, that were all my thoughts for Gossip Girl's like Thanksgiving episodes. Like I said, a lot of them are just like so like drama filled. I don't know why none of the main characters just be like, yeah, like everything's giving. We try to be so happy, but like everyone's like so drama filled. Let me give you the rules of what not to do in the Gossip Girl universe. Okay, first of all, you're rich. We're rich and love we're rich. Okay, number one, do not invite people on Thanksgiving to your Thanksgiving dinner. If their plans fall through, let their plans fall through. Okay? If they're trying to do something else for Thanksgiving, let them do something else for Thanksgiving. Number two, um, just be with family. Number three, if you cannot be with family for Thanksgiving, just get a plate of fries and ketchup. An amazing morning, evening, afternoon, and night, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.